A reading from the book of Kings. Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard in Jezreel, next to the palace of Ahab, king of Samaria. Ahab said to Naboth, "Give me your vineyard to be my vegetable garden, since it is close by next to my house. I will give you a better vineyard in exchange, or if you prefer, I will give you its value in money." Naboth answered him, "The Lord forbid that I should give you my ancestral heritage." Ahab went home, disturbed and angry at the answer Naboth the Jezreelite had made to him. "I will not give you my ancestral heritage." Lying down on his bed, he turned away from food and would not eat. His wife, Jezebel, came to him and said to him, "Why are you angry that you will not eat?" He answered her, "Because I spoke to Naboth the Jezreelite and said to him, 'Sell me your vineyard, or if you prefer, I will give you a vineyard in exchange.' But he refused to let me have his vineyard." His wife, Jezebel, said to him, "A fine ruler over Israel you are indeed. Get up, eat, and be cheerful. I will obtain the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite for you." So she wrote letters in Ahab's name, and having sealed them with his seal, sent them to the elders and to the nobles who lived in the same city with Naboth. That is what she wrote in the letters. This is what she wrote in the letters. "Proclaim a fast and set Naboth at the head of the people. Next, get 2 scoundrels to face him and accuse him of having cursed God and king. Then take him out and stone him to death." His fellow citizens, the elders and nobles who dwelt in his city, did as Jezebel had ordered them in writing, through the letters she had sent them. They proclaimed a fast, and they placed Naboth at the head of the people. 2 scoundrels came in and confronted him with the accusation, "Naboth has cursed God and king." And they led him out of the city and stoned him to death. Then they sent the information to Jezebel that Naboth had been stoned to death. When Jezebel learned that Naboth had been stoned to death, she said to Ahab, "Go on, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite that he refused to sell you, because Naboth is not alive, but dead." On hearing that Naboth was dead, Ahab started off on his way down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite to take possession of it. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Lord, listen to my groaning.
Listen to my life.
Hearken to my words, O Lord. Attend to my sighing. Heed my call for help, my King and my God.
Listen to my life.
At dawn, I bring my plea expectantly before you. For you, O God, delight not in wickedness. No evil man remains with you. The arrogant may not stand in your sight.
Lord, listen to my
You hate all evildoers. You destroy all who speak falsehood. The bloodthirsty and the deceitful, the Lord abhors.
A lamp to my feet is your word, a light to my path. Alleluia, 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 alleluia. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, offer no resistance to one who is evil. When someone strikes you on the right cheek, turn the other one to him as well. If anyone wants to go to law with you over your tunic, hand him your cloak as well. Should anyone press you into service for 1 mile, go with him for 2 miles. Give to the one who asks of you, and do not turn your back on one who wants to borrow." The Gospel of the Lord. Before I begin, a word of congratulations to you once again for the great numbers of people who come to this daily Mass. It's wonderful to see such a huge crowd at a daily Mass, and it must be one of the biggest daily Masses in the diocese. And I'm sure that the Lord blesses the town of Woodland with all of you here each day. This is the feast of Anthony of Padua, one of the better known Franciscan priests, Franciscan saints. And he is, of course, best known for finding things that you lose. My sisters-in-law swear by him, my 2 sisters-in-law. They swear by him. Whenever they lose their keys or lose something, they pray to St. Anthony, and the next thing they find it. At least that's what they say anyway. I have never had that particular devotion, but if it works, wonderful. The city of San Antonio, Texas is called after him. San Antonio, Texas, a very big city. It was founded by Franciscan missionaries, Spanish missionaries, when they reached that part of Texas, and they found the river, and it was the feast. It was June 13th is when they arrived there, the feast of St. Anthony of Padua, and they decided to call the river, therefore, St. Anthony's River. And then, of course, the town appeared on the banks of the river later, and it was called St. Anthony also, San Antonio, Spanish. Much the same as in Sacramento. The river was named first Sacramento, and then the city later got the same Catholic name. St. Anthony of Padua. Padua is in northern Italy, but the funny thing about it is that he's not Italian. He isn't Italian. That's where he's buried. That's where he ended up his life. He's Portuguese. And he started off as an Augustinian priest in Portugal, but then was very impressed by this brand new order. The Franciscans had just been founded and were very dedicated missionaries in northern Africa, was attracted to them, so left the Augustinians and became a Franciscan, went to Morocco, did some missionary work there. Then he had, for reasons of health, had to return, and he ended up being shipwrecked. The ship went out of, got caught in a storm, and so he ended up by accident on the Italian coast. And then he ended up being a part of the general chapter of the Franciscans, and actually he met Francis of Assisi. Francis of Assisi was still alive, was present at that general chapter in 1221, and Anthony of Padua was awed by meeting the actual founder of the Franciscans, became a Franciscan, then lived in Padua, became a very powerful, very, very powerful preacher, a very powerful writer. In the official church, he's known not as the saint who finds things that are lost. In the official church, he's known as a theologian. He's a doctor of the church, and being a doctor of the church is a big deal. Not very many saints are doctors of the church. People like Augustine, Aquinas, Teresa of Avila, but there's very few of them. But he is one of them. He's a doctor of the church, which means that his theology is that important and that instructive and that helpful that they give him this title. So my suggestion to us today is, as we celebrate his feast, is to pray for not things that are lost, but to pray for theologians. He was the first Franciscan theologian. Theologians have a difficult job. Theologians have a balancing act. They're the ones who interpret the gospel anew in the language of today. They make it relevant to today, and they keep doing that in every age. They reinterpret the gospel in the language of the day. But they must do that, but stay faithful to the tradition, not go off the reservation, not start preaching something crazy. And that can be a difficult balance. And sometimes theologians get in trouble with the Vatican if they go too far off the reservation. So it's a difficult balance, but theologians are very important. They're the ones who help us to interpret the gospel for today. So let's pray for them, for all theologians of today, as we celebrate this feast of Anthony of Padua.